Let's talk about determining your self-worth. In my morning meditation this morning, when I was asking for guidance about the topic on today's video, I kept feeling very strongly about the reason that it's so important to talk about our self-worth and how we determine our self-worth. So if this is something that you struggle with, this video might help you. So our self-worth, right? That's what we think about ourselves. That's what we think we are worth. Think about that. What you're worth. If you go to the store and you buy a really, really expensive item, you pay for that because you think it's worth it. Whatever the cost, you know it's worth it. And it's the same thing with you. Whatever it is that you really, really want to be, do, or have, do you believe you're worth it? Where is your level of worth? How do you see yourself? Now, our levels of self-worth have a lot to do with how we were raised. It's something in childhood that we learned or intuited and we brought with us into adulthood, and we're walking around making choices in our adult life based on feelings and emotions that we created in childhood. And those feelings and emotions are attached to a belief, and one of those beliefs has to do with your self-worth. Now, it's not important for you to go back and say, oh, I remember exactly that day, that time, whatever, that happened. And you don't have to do that. But it's about sitting with yourself and asking yourself, am I worthy? And let me tell you, I speak from experience when I say there was a time when being worthy was like the bottom of my list. Maybe it wasn't even on my list. So to go from feeling very, very unworthy to feeling very, very worthy, how do you close the gap? Well, first of all, stop and ask yourself, what do I see as my worth? Now, this is not about monetary, but a lot of times we think about it in monetary terms when lack shows up in our life, especially in our finances. If you're thinking, okay, I have a lack of money. Now you see yourself as being in this bubble of lack, and you are going to make choices based on how you see yourself in that square or that bubble of lack. The same way with your relationships. If you see someone that you think, wow, I would really like to get to know that person, I would really like to have a conversation with that person, or maybe it's someone you want to date, or maybe it's someone in your career, at work, or a coworker, a boss that you would really like to have mentor you or teach you something. But your level of worth, how you see your worth, is low. So you're hesitant to step up and talk to that person. You're hesitant to have a conversation with that person because you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, what would that person possibly see in me? What would that person have to do to spend time with me, to find me worthy? So you see, it's not about if if the other person sees us as worthy. It's about if we see ourselves as worthy. Remember, all of these videos, go back and look at some of the topics on these videos. All of these videos have to do with your levels of self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth, self-love, self-image. So when your level of self-worth is low, you're not going to feel very inspired. You're not going to feel very motivated, and you're not going to really take the time to get out there and step outside of your comfort zone because you don't see yourself as worthy. Maybe you've been in a relationship where you've felt really isolated or unfulfilled or traumatized, and it is really taking you down in your levels of self-worth. You just don't see yourself as worthy. But I can promise you, you are worthy. Now, for me to say to you, you are worthy, and for you to believe that you are worthy, there's probably a gap there. And the reason for that gap is how you talk to yourself. What do you say to yourself when I say you are worthy? Because for me on that journey, when I started working with my teachers, my mentors, my coaches, and they would tell me, you are worthy, you do deserve this, there was that part of me that would go, I don't know, because if you knew about this, you wouldn't think that. So we always have these stories in our mind, right? About something that's happened to us or something we've experienced and something we view as happening to us in the past that has made us unworthy, a choice we made that has made us unworthy. And when we feel that, we create a belief around that, and that feeling and that belief, they continue to go back and forth. They feed each other. So getting to the root of the belief, this is what I call mastering your beliefs, will enable you to really break it open and take a look at it and say, okay, why do I believe this is true? Why do I believe my levels of worth are so low that I'm not allowing myself to have, do, or be what it is that I'm telling myself that I really want? Now, when your levels of self are low, whatever those levels of self, it is very difficult to be motivated. It's very difficult to believe in yourself. And someone else can tell you that you are all that and a box of chocolates. But if you don't believe it, you are going to have challenges taking that next step, going to that next part of your journey. Now, here's something that you can do to really stop and get a grip on this, get a handle on it. And what I mean by that is when you really can be clear on it, you really understand, why do I think that way? So stop and ask yourself, okay, why do I have such low feelings of self-worth? And you might want to make a list. Maybe it's oh, I got out of control here, or I made a bad choice there, or whatever it is that's going to go on your list, whatever it is that you are judging yourself for, make a list of that. Now ask yourself, okay, based on my experience with that and what I know now, today, as of this moment, would I choose to do that again? And if the answer is no, make a big circle around it. All right. Because all you have to tell yourself is, no, I'm not that anymore. Because what you're doing when your levels of worth are low is you're telling yourself that you are still that. But if you've made the unconscious or conscious choice that you are not that, then it has no bearing on your choices today. So this is about being very clear of what you're still judging yourself for in the past, because whatever it is, you're bringing it with you into your present day moment, and you are allowing it to lower your levels of self-worth. Now, if you struggle with this, or this is a challenge, or this is something that you'd like to know more about, I invite you to check out masteringyourbeliefs.com. Spend some time there, look around, and see what calls to you. See what information works best for you. Because if you truly, truly are ready to raise your levels of self-worth, there's got to be a change in your life, a change in your mind, a shift somehow in your thinking, in your thoughts, and the words that you're using before that can happen. And I'm sure that there's something at masteringyourbeliefs.com that can help you if you're ready. And remember, if you have any questions, ask your sensei. In the meantime, this is Nancy Muller, the one and only Life Sensei, saying ciao for now.